Hello, everybody, and welcome to the penultimate edition of First Impressions. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, after Dido, we will have just one more leader to look forward to in the stable of leaders that will be brought to us by Gathering Storm. Which reminds me, if you are new to the channel, please do not forget to hit that subscribe button right now and prepare yourself for all the Civilization 6 Gathering Storm content you can possibly handle. Some of the stuff that you can look forward to on the channel in the coming weeks and months are reviews of all the new features that will be inside the Gathering Storm expansion, fresh tutorials for all of you at every single level of gameplay, from new people brand new to the series all the way up to people trying to conquer the Deity AI. We will have fresh tutorials which will give you all the information you could possibly imagine, Gathering Storm information as well as basic strategies of Civilization 6, in order to make sure you have all the tools you need to enjoy the game. Also, for those of you who are fans of the Game of the Week, we will continue that Game of the Week as usual, streaming it Mondays and Tuesdays on Twitch, as well as releasing it daily on the YouTube channel. The focus of the Game of the Week, once Gathering Storm is released, is going to be revisiting civilizations which existed before Gathering Storm but are getting an update. Any significant update to any civilization in the game will be covered in the Game of the Week in the coming weeks and months. Really looking forward to that. In addition, a brand new series, first look series at all the civilizations. Right out of the gate, Thursday, February the 14th, we're going to be starting our first look series, streaming on Twitch and releasing it on the following days on YouTube. We're going to be doing a first look series at all 9 of the new civilizations. I'm going to try to get at least 2 of them done every single week. So within a month, you should have a first look at every single civilization, and you'll be able to take a look at their abilities in depth, see them in gameplay, maybe get some ideas, and enjoy that civilization for yourself. So do not forget, this is the place you want to be. Hit that subscribe button, and you're going to have all the information you need on first impressions, first look, everything Gathering Storm. You're going to have it right here. Now, with that being said, it's time to move on to Dido of the Phoenician Empire. Really interesting leader. Really looking forward to playing her. Let's dive into her abilities right now. The founder of Carthage. That's right. The founder of Carthage can move their capital to a city with a Kothon by completing a unique project in that city. Very interesting. Unique, bold stroke. Going to be able to move their capital. That's fantastic. It's going to be really interesting. A lot of fun just to try it once. Why not, right? In addition, +1 trade route capacity for each government plaza building and the government plaza district. When they said it in the video, they actually just referred to the government plaza. But in addition, you can see it very clearly there in plain text, government plaza buildings. So that means when you get to your first government building, so you get your plaza down to get your building down, within the first 60, 70 turns, that's 2 bonus trade routes for you that nobody else gets. And then every time you get a new building, you're going to be able to get another trade route. So that's going to be even more incentive to push that culture tree, get to your newest governments, and get those extra trade routes. Those are super valuable. I cannot overstate that. Finally, an extra 50% production towards districts in the city with the government plaza. That's fantastic as well. That's going to give you the chance, for instance, if you put your government plaza in your capital, that's going to allow you to get those districts down even faster than normal, saving you, who knows, 3, 4, 5, 6 turns. You never know. But all those turns it saves you, you're going to be able to do other things. It's going to give you the opportunity to get out more settlers. It's going to allow you to spit out extra builders, get the buildings down faster, starting those great people points faster. It's going to give you the opportunity to get wonders built more quickly, which is extremely important as well. So do not underestimate the power of that as well. So right out of the gate, founder of Carthage, I love everything about that. There's lots of really cool stuff there. So I really hope that you guys understand all the things there. Particularly being able to move the capital could be very interesting as far as if you're playing on a land mass where perhaps you don't have a lot of space around you, but you find some area, you know, once you've got a few cities founded in that area, you could possibly move your capital for that bonus loyalty in order to start founding another area that you found on the map that maybe hasn't been utilized as well as it could have. So very interesting stuff in the founder of Carthage. Moving on, the Mediterranean colonies. Begin the game with the writing technology Eureka. Now, when I first read this, I thought it just said begin the game with the writing technology. I thought, hey, that's fantastic. But then I noticed it said Eureka. Still pretty good, though. Writing, that's going to be 40% bonus towards the writing technology, whether you meet another civilization or not. Don't underestimate the power of that. Coastal cities, founded by Phoenician, located on the same continent as Phoenician capital, are 100% loyal. This loyalty mechanic is really very interesting. I think you're really going to enjoy this because it's going to allow you to perhaps steal a little bit of land from a neighbor if there's some coastal land up the side of another civilization, which is a little bit further away from you, but it hasn't been founded yet. If it happens to be on the same continent, you're going to be able to grab that land without having to worry about losing it to loyalty. So that's really cool stuff for sure. Also, settlers gain +2 movement and +2 sight range while embarked. Very interesting. So, first of all, if you're going to be playing these guys on a coastal map, or sorry, a map with lots of coasts, so archipelago, fractal, island plate, stuff like that, you're going to want to be putting your settlers in the water to take them to the places they need to go a lot of the time. And being able to have extra 2 movement, extra 2 sight, and not having movement cost for embarking and disembarking, that means you're going to be able to found these cities so much faster. Being able to move 4, 5, 6 tiles with a settler, you're going to be able to span lots of ocean really quickly. You're going to be able to see further, so you're going to be able to maybe find some new land. You can almost do a little scouting with them and see some possible islands that could be optimal for settling that nobody's found yet. So this is something you could really take advantage of as far as not only finding that land, but being able to much more quickly get those settlers there. Getting a city settled 5 turns sooner is no small thing. So don't underestimate that, please. So Mediterranean colonies, some cool stuff, very unique things, nothing super overpowering, but lots of kind of unique strokes in there that I think you'll enjoy. Moving on, the unique unit, the Biram, the Phoenician unique ancient era unit that replaces the galley. Increased combat strength and movement, as well as trader units are immune from being plundered if they're within 4 tiles of the Biram and on a water tile. The last bit could be a little bit handy if you have a few of these Birams sitting around later in the game, and even if you're at peace and you're worried about a barbarian unit hanging around and trying to wreck your day, or if a surprise war comes along and you've got traders all over the place, you could have the opportunity to strategically place a few of these leftover Birams in locations to help save your trade routes from being plundered, because we all know how annoying that can be. So yeah, that part's interesting. One thing I will say, and this is being a little bit of a negative Nancy, I know, but ancient era units, particularly on the higher difficulty levels, can be a little bit, I don't want to say useless, but less useful, because when you're playing against at a higher difficulty level, they've got so many more units than you to start with, and before you can get aggressive with your military, it takes a while to build up enough units that you can actually make use of them. That being said, these are naval units, so it's a little bit different than an ancient era land unit, and they do have a significant increase in their power by combat strength and the extra movement. So if you are going for a naval domination game, this unit will be pretty solid in order to give you a quick leg up. Of course, you can get the 50% production towards naval units, which we'll talk about in a bit. So you'll be able to get lots of these out quickly, and then from there you'll be able to push on in a early offensive in a naval domination game with these guys. So they'll have their unique, they'll have their moments where they'll be quite useful in an early game push. Finally, unique districts. How much do we love unique districts, guys? Super cheap. You're gonna love it. The Kothon, a district unique to Phoenician for naval activity in your city, replaces the harbor district and cheaper to build. Of course, half-price districts are fantastic. It's a great way to get an early jump on the AI. Must be built on coast or lake terrain. No surprise there. But here's the biggies. 50% production towards naval units and settler units in this city. And all wounded naval units in this city receive 100% heal per turn, which essentially means no matter how injured they are, as long as they're still alive, 1 turn of healing, and they go to full strength, which again is another bonus towards a military combat strategy. If you're going for a naval domination, you can bring your units back to your land, crank them up to 100% in 1 turn, and then throw them back into the battle. So that's really great. But I don't want to gloss over the key points here. 50% production towards naval units. Fantastic for your naval domination game. These guys are going to be super strong. If you set up the map right and go for a naval domination game, these guys are fantastic. But the one that's going to be super helpful in ways other than just naval domination game is being able to spit those settlers out extra fast. So let's go through the math here. If you get your government plaza down and you get ancestral hall, that's 50% production towards settlers. If you use the 50% production towards settlers government card, which you get early on, that's another 50%. And finally, if you have a Kothon in the city, that's an additional 50% production towards settlers. So it's 150 production towards settlers in the city with a government plaza if you have all of those things. Get your government plaza, get your Kothon, and just spam settlers like crazy. That is extremely valuable. Again, particularly on deity difficulty. I don't like to dwell on the deity stuff, but that's what people know me for. That's what I play every day. That's what what's my expertise is at. And I think people tune in to hear about this stuff specifically for those reasons. Do not underestimate the power of that 150% production towards settlers, because when you're playing against the deity AI, not only do they get 3 cities right out of the gate, but they're going to be having those huge production bonuses. They're going to be spamming settlers out. Their forward settle you so quickly. They take up a lot of land. They have 6 cities so fast. And then if you don't start forward settling them and start taking land away, then it becomes that much more difficult to get the cities you need. And in a culture game, in a science game, you know, going super wide is the absolute strategy for Civilization 6. Don't get me wrong. There is absolutely no other way to play the game. Getting 8 cities is a minimum. 12 cities is fantastic, at least. So being able to get those cities out faster, get them settled faster, particularly with that extra movement on the water, you're going to be able to find little spots along coasts where other people haven't settled yet, because you can not only can you move your capital to change the continent you're on, so you can cheat those loyalty mechanics, but you can also steal that land that's right beside some of your neighbors as well. So these guys are going to have the ability to find lots of real cool little spots to put down cities and put them down quick with the special 50% production towards settler ability that you're going to get from this Kothon. So really fantastic stuff from this particular ability. I do want to, before I glaze over that and move on to the rankings and stuff, I do want to say one thing though. For those of you who know me well, who've watched me play the games a lot, streaming and all that kind of stuff, I'm not a big fan of the Harbor District compared to building the commercial hubs. There's a huge discrepancy in non-military games between what you get from Harbor Districts and what you get from commercial hubs. Great merchants, which is what you get from great people points from your commercial hubs, are so much better than the relatively useless admirals that you get from a harbor. So that alone is a significant difference, which I don't want you to underestimate. Okay, and I know I keep saying that, but trust me, you can get a lot of value out of great merchants in a culture or science game, which you're not going to get from harbors. In addition, your gold economy is extremely valuable in a game of culture or science, and you're going to get a lot more gold from the gold buildings or from the buildings within a commercial hub than you're going to get from your harbor district. Now, not that the harbor district buildings don't have use, but you're going to be giving up gold, and so there is some drawback to having to focus this unique district over top of the commercial hub. It's not a huge difference, but it's something that you should definitely consider and will be considered in my evaluation. That being said, I do not want to tell you, I don't want to shy you away from building this thing. Being able to get those your trade routes faster is important, and being able to quickly get this district down, and then of course building the lighthouse, that's an immediate trade route. So being able to get there faster over top of all other civilizations who don't have this ability to get the fast district, it's an advantage. Don't get me wrong. Getting the trade routes, you can get gold and food and all the other things from trade routes, so that's important. You're going to get it faster with this building, but there is a sacrifice going to there from the commercial hub. Okay, enough of that. Let's break it down. Okay. In a word, seafaring. I think that this one's pretty fitting. Pretty much all their abilities depend on the sea. You're going to probably want to play these guys on some sort of a water map, whether it's Island Plates, Fractal, Archipelago. It's not that they're going to be completely useless on a Pangea map or on a Continents map, but certainly their rankings on those water maps are going to be a lot higher than they will be playing on a Pangea, for instance. So seafaring, I think it's very fitting. They got obviously a unique district that sits on the water, a unique unit that goes on the water, unique abilities that make them better and faster and stronger in the water. So there you have it. By the number, a 5. I hemmed and hawed about maybe a 6. They're gonna have some ups and downs. They're very map specific, I think. A lot of their abilities won't really help you all that much in certain games. But with that being said, for the most part, when people play a particular civ, they're going to set the map up the way they like them. So maybe 5's a little harsh. Maybe a 6 could have been there. But, you know, again, it's first impressions. And when I read this stuff down, there's no raw science, there's no raw culture, there's no raw faith. I just felt like without any of those things, a 5 was probably a pretty fair number. Let's take it down victory type by victory type. Science and culture, I hemmed and hawed, and I gave them a soft 3 on both. I was back and forth on this. It's not a hard 3. I don't do 0.5s. If I did, I'd probably be 2.5 on both of these. The reason in the end that I decided to go with 3s on these is particularly when these ratings are based on the Deity difficulty level, that extra 50% production towards settlers and the ability to manipulate your capital and your home continent in order to negate the loyalty mechanics is going to find you some extra land. And ultimately, like I said earlier, for science and culture victories, it's all about getting as wide as you can. Every city counts. All those cities can build the districts, those extra great people points, those extra science and culture you get from those. It all adds up when you're pushing towards those extra victories. So being able to kind of cheat the AI a little bit as far as cheating them out of land, grabbing some stuff and ignoring the loyalty, those abilities are not to be underestimated. So I felt like that in combination with the extra trade routes, which is significant to help your gold economy, and you can send those trade routes off to allies to get extra science and culture as well. You're going to have as many as 4 or 5 extra trade routes by the late game because of those extra government plaza building trade routes you're going to get. So that's also very significant. And I just felt like, you know, being a 2 was just too low. A 2 was just going to be too low of an evaluation for these guys. So we gave them a 3. Military, a tough one. I gave them a 2. And people are going to be like, but they got a really cool military unit and they've got, you know, this ability to build these units. Absolutely. For a very specific game type, a naval domination game on the right map, they're going to be fantastic. But in all other respects, for a military domination game, they don't have any advantages. Anytime you have to go onto land in order to take over cities, you're just not going to have any extra strength ability there. And I don't think you can underestimate that. Particularly when there's other maps that that we were evaluating here, and it's going to be against the Deity AI, so you have to have some advantage in order to get a solid mark there. So I think 2 is fair. And finally, religion. I mean, it's got to be a 1, right? They don't have any raw faith abilities. They're not going to, other than being able to get your government plaza down and getting a 50% production towards your first holy site if you wanted to go that way, which on Deity you couldn't, because if you waited for your government plaza, the religions would all be gone. So you're not going to get that bonus production even towards your religious site unless you're playing on lower difficulty levels. On the Deity level, there's no extra faith generation here, so there's no real advantage. So there you have it, folks. Let me know what you think. Okay, 5 is a little soft. It could maybe have been a 6, but I just feel like because they're very map specific, a 5 was my first impression. Once I play them, who knows? Maybe it'll be a 6. Maybe it'll be a 7. Let me know what you think in the comments, folks. How do you like Dido? How are you going to play them? Talk to me. Don't forget to hit the like button so everybody else on YouTube can check this content out. I really do appreciate your support, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.